Hi, and welcome to the Live Edge Lumber Girl Show. This episode of the Live Edge Lumber Girl Show comes to you from Tags Tools, with 2 locations to serve you in Hamilton, one at 1104 Barton Street East, and in the mountain at 1361 Rymel Road East, your go-to store for hard-to-find tools and machinery. This maker not only makes beautiful things out of wood and epoxy, he's also a huge supporter of the woodworking community here in Ontario. From organizing the maker meetup in Toronto during the woodworking show to Zoom meetings during COVID, Glenn Boniface is the owner of Bonfire Creations. Good to see you. How have you been?
Oh, tired.
Tired? Working the midnight oil, or however they say that?
Well, we just had our baby last week.
I missed that. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he was a week yesterday.
Okay, wow. So that's baby number...
Well, that's 4 for me. I'm done.
You're done. Right on, right on. How's it going with the Christmas rush? Are you busy with woodworking, charcuterie boards, that stuff?
Not well. I sold a couple boards, but I'm not really out there right now to promote it. I've got a couple custom builds I'm on doing right now, so they're kind of what little time I get in the shop, they're taking over right now. So I haven't really pushed the season this year.
Right. Yeah. Well, with a new baby coming, hold on, I got to get my earbuds on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a new baby, it's going to be a little bit tougher to do things that you'd like to do, right? Anyways, so let me just say that I'm here with Glenn Boniface, and he is an amazing woodworker and out of Cobourg, Ontario, correct?
Yeah, yep, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me a little, I want to start like sort of at the beginning. I looked at your website and some of your social media stuff, and I saw you haven't been woodworking really long. Are you trained, or are you all self-taught?
It's just all self-taught, learning along the way. I've always had an interest in it. I just never had the space to do it, so to speak, right? So yeah, I know a lot of people make it work with whatever, but I was kind of unless I have a place I can have tools, I can't really get into it. So we bought our house 5 years ago, and it had a garage, a fully detached garage, and then with all I had was a radial arm saw, and Kirsten was we were in the midst of planning our wedding and became in depth with Pinterest.
Yes.
And it was, can you make this? Can you make that? And I'm like, well, I can sure try. And one thing led to another, and a couple tools later, and now I'm full-blown wood shop.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're also a big supporter of the woodworking community, which I love that you
absolutely.
You have been, you've created so many, like just off the, like just out of the wind, like meetings with people, like especially like during COVID there, when you invited me to that one meeting and everybody was just sort of sitting around chatting and about what they're doing and having a beer or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, what I kind of I stumbled across the community on Instagram. Like I had a personal page that I was starting to post stuff, and then I kind of started following a few more people on Instagram, and then I thought, it'd be cool to actually meet these people. So as time progressed and the more following I got and the more people followed me, I, decided I've had a couple failed attempts at meetups, weather and stuff, always.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But then of course, a couple of years ago, we did our first one. I thought the woodworking show would be great.
Yeah.
In all honesty, Workbench Con gave me the thought of doing something on a larger scale.
Okay.
Because they do a lot of meetups outside the conference as well. So I was like, I want to do something like that here. And what better place? I mean, Toronto's only an hour and a half for me, and it's kind of centralized for a lot of people.
Yes.
So I thought, you know what? And I know the facility that we have it at. It's Arizona's Grill and Pub.
Yeah.
And it worked out great. They accommodated us. We had about 40 people show up the first year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't organize any prizes or nothing. It was just let's get together, have a drink after the wood show. And it was fantastic. Everybody if they didn't know everybody from social media, they did by the end of the night, and it was a nice intimate setting. And then the next year, I decided to branch out and let's get some sponsors involved. And I reached out, and I was testing the waters. I reached out to about a dozen sponsors, and I got positive feedback from about half a dozen. And I mean, Polymere stepped up, and he pretty much said, I want to donate whatever I can. And he got a banner, and he was our big sponsor last year. And we did a bunch of prizes, and everybody had a great time. And we had about 100 people last year.
Yeah. I made it. So, I didn't stay late or anything, but I did make it for a beer anyways.
And that's what it was about. I mean, I'm a social person, and to see people just mingling, and not even talking shop. People that talk they talk shop on social media. It's nice to meet them personally and just become friends. Yeah. And I think that's what made it, the most important thing for me is just, it's not about your competitive side. It's not about talking business or swapping tricks. It's just, let's have a beer or a pop or whatever it is you do and just get along. And that's what it was. And I mean, we had lots of competitive people there, but it was an open forum where people could just, even if people were a little saucy with each other online, they were all friends that night.
Yeah. Yeah. I caught that too. And it was nice to just be together in a room, and we're all in the same boat. We're all so I noticed that I call it competitive camaraderie, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and it really is. You have to have that, so I think it's wonderful how you have managed to bring everybody together face to face, because Instagram's pretty widespread, and as many that can come, particularly in Ontario, because we are the wood capital of the world to some degree, or the woodworking. Not that there aren't woodworkers everywhere, but we are very blessed here in Ontario with lots of beautiful wood to work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so many makers and so many woodworkers, and so much to learn from each other as we get to know each other, right? Yeah. So I just want to touch on something that's sort of off topic for a second, and that is cheerleading. I have to ask you, you used to be a cheerleader, really?
About 120 pounds ago.
Okay.
Yes, I was. I got into competitive cheerleading actually late in my life. I was already 30, 31.
Okay.
And a friend of mine approached me about Parent Squad, and I was active, and I'm always looking to meet new people and get into stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. I mean, I've seen the movies. I know guys do it. It's not a big thing.
Right.
So I went and tried. Well, you're not really trying out. You're just going and getting involved, but you literally are instantly put on a team and you can't leave.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they put you in a group of 4 or 5 people, and if one person doesn't show up next week, you can't practice your routine.
Yes.
So I got involved, and I did a couple competitions with the parent team, and then the following year, I got approached to join what we call open team, which is basically 14 years and up. And I mean, actually, we had international open. It's a whole other ball of game, but it's 18 and up. So we didn't want to have the younger kids on our team, so it was 18 and up.
Yeah.
And a lot harder stunts and a lot more vigorous training. And I loved it. I mean, I was having a blast. I mean, to throw people in the air, catch people, to do the stunts that we did. And I learned a bit of tumbling along the way when my body could still do it.
Yeah.
And I met my wife. I mean, so it was a win-win.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Yeah, that's wonderful. So has your wife been doing that, or is she still doing it, or did she do it for a long time?
Well, she was a gymnast for years, and she was, I think about 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
And then when she went to college, when she was 17, she was coaching gymnastics, but then she had to do school full time. So she started cheering for the college in Durham. She was in Durham College's squad. And then the team was looking for something a little more competitive outside of that. And she got into a cheerleading gym in Whitby. And it just went from there for her. She coached it for years. Coached
Nice.
tumbling. Yeah, she coached tumbling for the cheer gym, and then she's still in. She's not really in cheer anymore, but she still coaches gymnastics. So it's kind of stuck with her ever since.
That's cool.
Yeah. Myself, I retired.
Yeah. My daughter, just to say, my daughter did cheerleading in grade 7 and 8. So she was a base, they called it. Yep. So she was the one throwing the girls in the air. She had a great time. When she first started, she was like, oh my God, my arms are sore, my legs are sore. But it kept her in shape, you know?
Yeah. Well, you use muscles you never thought you'd use, right?
That's what she said.
It's like any sport.
Yes. She did wrestling too.
Oh, wow.
She used to kick butt. So
yeah. Well, that's funny. I one of the girls on our team, she was a rugby player, a wrestler, and a cheerleader.
Yeah. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah. So so your shop is in your home?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And
I have a single car detached garage.
Okay. Yeah. And what's your favorite tool to use?
I like them all.
You like them all, yeah. What do you use the most, do you think? And what do you...
My sander.
I was gonna say it's got to be the sander.
It is, and I mean, I just invested and bought myself a 6-inch Bosch, and I actually enjoy sanding because it doesn't take me as long.
Yeah, but, I have one too.
Yeah, I love my table saw. I have a vintage 1970s Craftsman.
Oh, cool.
It was in pretty good shape when I got it, like no rust on it, but no safety stuff on it either, right? So I put a micro jig splitter on it, and I upgraded the fence on it, and I upgraded the motor on it to a bigger motor because it was stalling out with hardwood.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had the opportunity to buy an almost brand new version of it, but in a king, and I'm like, no, I've got too much invested in this old saw now that I don't want to get rid of it, right? I fine-tuned this thing, I've leveled it, because I like using my table saw for meticulous stuff. Like I like making jigs and making for cutting angles and this and that. My miter saw is great, but I can never get it dialed in perfect.
Okay.
Where my table saw is always perfect, and in my eye, it's perfect. I mean, there's better ones out there, but so I would have to say my table saw is the heart of my shop, my favorite tool.
So you use it. You make your own jigs, eh?
I try to. Yeah.
Okay. I wish I knew how to do that. I used to work at Lazy Boy.
Okay.
And I worked on one of the over 16 years. I worked in the woodwork. I was a woodworker, and for 6 years I worked on the table saw. I bounced around sometimes, but the table saw was my main thing. And I had a wall of jigs, and we had a jig department. We had guys building jigs constantly. And I would love to, I guess that's kind of a goal of mine as I grow in my woodworking. I hope to be able to understand jigs, how to make jigs. And right now my goal is to learn joinery.
Oh yeah.
So, because I'm starting at the bottom with the charcuterie board. So
work my way up. Not the bottom. Not the bottom. No. We still all make them.
Yeah, no, I know. But I mean, at the simplest level, I should say.
Yeah.
So, but there's still lots to learn when it comes to sanding and just knowing what to do with that wood to make that it be its own thing, right?
Yeah. Jigs for me, I just YouTube. I mean, if I want to make a simple, I want to make my own shims because I hate buying shims.
Okay.
I just looked up simple shim jig on YouTube.
Okay.
Found a couple, and one. It was one I made out of a 2x4, and now I use it every week. I make new shims with it. It works great.
That's a great idea. I never really thought about looking on YouTube for how to make jigs.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's worth a look. Here I am making a YouTube channel. I don't even need to go to YouTube for that. I noticed that you have a YouTube channel.
I do. I dabble a little bit. I mean, I find I get out to the shop and I just want to work. So my content is lacking. There's been a couple things I try to film the whole way through.
Yes, I saw that.
And then you got to spend hours editing that.
Yeah.
And it's just like my woodworking. I'm my own worst critic, right? I watch all these videos on YouTube. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And the camera presence, I'm definitely not comfortable with my camera presence when I'm I mean, I can talk in the background about my videos, but that's very monotone and boring. I like it when people are up front, and I haven't gotten to that level yet, but I'm trying. I mean, I'm not pushing content every week like you're supposed to. I might get a video out once a month or once every couple months, depending.
Yeah.
Right? But when I get busy with, like, I got 2 big jobs on the go, I don't have time for camera placement. And, you know, I'll set up a camera, do a couple shots, so at least I can keep my Instagram going.
Yes.
But I just can't do it full time. So it's like, yeah, it's lacking, but it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about it, is it doesn't have to be all perfect and edited and all that. You can just, because I noticed you've got, what all are you showing on there? What are some of your videos about?
I mean, I've got some tips and tricks on there, a couple household tips and tricks, and even some shop tips I put on there. And I've got complete builds on there too. I did a raised garden bed in the springtime, and I filmed that whole process. Recently, what was my recent video? See, I don't even remember because I don't pay much attention. But I did some I've done some, like, an intro to epoxy on there, and I did a video about P-Tech on there, and so I like the shorter tips and tricks type videos.
Okay.
That I can get a video out pretty quick, but it's when you've got hours upon hours of footage to edit for a 12-minute video is where I just get exhausted with it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
mean,
well, you're working
further as I go.
Yeah. Well, you're working full time, like as an electrician, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then part-time woodworking with 4 kids, and a wife and a house, and do you have dogs?
Exactly.
Dogs and cats?
And a dog.
And a dog. Okay, so you're busy.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're doing just fine. Your presence is very notable, definitely. Yeah. So, what have you been doing with epoxy lately?
Right now I'm doing a coffee table.
Okay.
I got a coffee table mold from Maker's Reusable Mold.
Yay.
And name drop.
I'm a fan. What can I say?
Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah, I have a couple. But so I'm doing a coffee table for an old friend of mine. So right now I'm looking at it. It's on my bench.
Yeah, right on.
So I just I cast it with chill ice too, and it's walnut. And that's the biggest one I've got on the go. I've got a couple little things, like I got a charcuterie board I poured some letters on last night, and some crib boards. I made some crib board blanks. Stuff I was hoping to get out for Christmas, but just haven't had the time.
Yeah.
Right? But and I'm doing a butcher block island for a close friend as well that I'm going to flood with epoxy because there's a lot of checking and holes. It's old repurposed hardwood.
Okay.
So I'm gonna flood it and then sand it back to wood so it fills everything, because they are gonna have food on it. So I got to make sure it's well sealed and no bacteria is gonna get in anywhere. But it's still gonna be wood top. So, but that's about my epoxy on the go. I mean, I've been using it more frequently now than before, but.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that process if you're gonna flood coat that butcher block. So you're going to flood coat it. What are you going to use for that? Chill 1? What's it called? Chill ice? Oh, what's it called?
Chill Ice 1. Chill Ice 1 is more of a shallow casting epoxy. I'll probably use either Diamond Fast or Clear on that, because it's just filling cracks and nail holes.
Yes.
So what I'll do is I'll seal the bottom up. It's too big for my mold, so I'll just tape the bottom, and I'll just I'll use a roller. I'll flood it on and spread it out with a roller and let it sink into all the crevices and holes. And then once it dries, I'll flood it again, or I'll sand it down and then just go back, and I won't flood it. I'll go back and top up all the voids.
Okay.
And then sand it flat, and then go through my process of sanding it.
And so when you say your first time sanding, what grit do you use?
I'll start with an 80 grit.
You start with an 80.
I'll start with an 80 grit, and I'll go to a 120, and then I'll go back and fill all my small little holes and cracks that need topped up, and then I'll just continue with the 120 again, and then from there I'll go to 180 to 220 to 300.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll probably stop at 300, and then I'll put my Odie's oil on it. But like this river table I'm doing right now, I'm probably going to sand it to about 1200 to 1500. just because it's actually quite a bit of exposed epoxy, and I want to try and get as much as like all the scratches as I can out of it.
Right.
I recently did a table for my brother-in-law. It was it had fractal burn patterns in it and very little epoxy, but I still sanded it to 1200 grit.
Yeah.
And this walnut, before it was oiled, looked like a mirror. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I never thought you could get a shine like that on bare wood. And so now I'm kind of addicted to high grit sanding because the wood just looks incredible.
Yeah, I actually have a guy in my sites right now that is a sanding genius. And he's here in town, actually. He's actually coming over on Friday night. I'm getting some sanding lessons. But yeah, he brings wood up to 3,000 grit. It is insane. It's insane.
I haven't gone that high. So, a lot of people tell you it's not necessary.
It's not, but he's an artist. You know, he's not a furniture maker. He's making art. So yeah.
And everybody has their preference, you know, like a charcuterie board, you can stop at 180 or 220 and put your finish on it and you're good to go. But like when you're, I don't, like I said, I don't mind sanding with this new sander. It's actually, it's nice and it's nice and easy. It's not as time consuming. And you know, if I've got the time, what's it matter if I do a couple more passes with a few more grits?
Yeah. Right.
You know? Yeah.
Where do you get so that's a 6-inch that you have?
Yes.
Where do you get your sandpaper?
That's a trade secret. No.
I feel like it is because I keep looking around for some higher grit and they're really hard to find. Okay,
so I use Sia speed paper. Normally I buy it from North Dog and we know North Dog.
Chad and Jay. Okay.
And they do have some higher grits, and I'm sure if there's something in specific you're looking for, they have no problem getting it in. They got a pretty good relationship with the rep. So
okay, so probably I could just I'll reach out to Jay or even just go on his website and I would find it there. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about the higher grits on his website. You would probably have to reach out and ask him if he can get it in for you.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to speak for their business.
No, of course not.
I don't know what they carry full out.
Yeah, so. I see. Okay, great. Yeah.
I think 320 was the highest I bought from them. So.
Okay. Yeah. I've been working on some boards, and I feel like I get them feeling like I'm bringing them up to 320.
Yeah.
But then I sit them and I stand a few more and then I come back and I feel that and I feel like, I don't know if that's what I want. I think I want it smoother. So, and then I think, do I have time? I have all these boards to make. You know, that's the other thing, right? How much time do you have to actually get it to that? But
what are you finishing your boards with?
Right. Oh, you mean like the oil that I'm putting on?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's kind of top secret. It's in the works, so I'm probably going to be, carrying a new board product, and I'm just sort of experimenting with that product right now. And I'll tell you, it actually is very good. I will get back to you on that. Yeah.
I was just because all I was asking was like, are you raising the grain on your boards
when I put it on?
No, like, are you, after you sand, are you raising the grain with water?
But no, I'm not. Should I?
Okay. Well, it all depends. That's why I asked what finish you're using. Like, if you're just using, say, mineral oil, then you would want to raise your grain, because as soon as that board gets wet, after the fact, say you sell a finished board to somebody, and they wipe it down with a wet cloth, that wet cloth is going to raise all the fibers on that board, and it's going to feel rough again.
Oh.
So if you sand it to 220, we'll use 220. Sand it to 220 and then wet it down with a wet cloth. You'll feel all those fibers come up. You'll sand it again with 220, wet it again, and you do that a few times until you don't feel those fibers come up anymore.
That's why those are coming up. Okay.
Yes, you have to raise your grain. But if you're using a product like Odie's oil, not to name drop again, you don't have to raise the grain, because the way that one bonds to the wood, it will actually hold it intact because it actually waterproofs the wood.
Okay.
So you don't have to raise the grain with a product like that.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying sand it to 220, spray it with water or wipe it? What's better?
Either or.
Either
spray
or.
It, wipe it. Yep. As long as you're wetting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then sand it again with the same grit.
Yeah.
And then maybe do that 2 or 3 times until I don't feel that.
That's right.
Okay.
And then take your and then do a light pass with 320 once you've done all that. Yeah. And you'll have no worries about it feeling rough again.
Okay. There we go. I'm glad I got talking about that. The sanding thing is there's lots of tricks to learn about sanding. And I could actually make a little list of what I'm starting to have a real deeper understanding of the whole sanding process. Even though I know so much about wood, I know more about the actual raw product than the finished product, right? So yeah, that's good to know. Great, thank you. And people are gonna like this.
I can't take credit for that. I mean, I learned that from the Instagram community. Dom at M Inspired, he did some stories years ago about that, and that's where I picked that.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
So that's not my secret.
Yeah. No, that's okay. But it's good that you shared it because now it's out there again. For sure. Again. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. I reached out to Dom, but he was busy at the time, so eventually I'm going to get to him.
Oh, Christmas for him is crazy.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Well, he does it full time, so.
Yeah, the king of charcuterie.
Right.
Boards. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. So what's up with you with the whole COVID thing? Everything been good for you that way? You've been healthy and business not affected? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I work in Durham region, which is GTA, and they have a higher count.
Yes.
And I am an essential worker, so I have been working.
Good.
Now, that being said, I was also off for a few weeks because I got injured at work. So I had some time off when the second wave hit, because it was right at the beginning of September.
Yes.
My wife, she took a medical leave from work being pregnant, and being pregnant, she had blood pressure issues. So she took time off. So she hasn't been out in the public so much. We've just been, keeping with our circle and going out for necessities and not, gallivanting too much. And I mean, but where we are in Cobourg right now, we have a few active cases, but for the longest time, we were sitting at 0 or 1 for Northumberland County, which is a big county. So, I mean, we've just been abiding by the rules, and it kind of stinks that we can't see our friends as much, or we can't see our family, because I have family that live farther away. I have family in Mississauga.
Yes.
And I had to tell them, sorry, we're not doing Christmas this year.
Right.
I mean, we're doing Christmas only with our household, and like my wife Kirsten's parents are in our bubble because they don't socialize. So I mean, with them and with us, and that's it. We just can't. We can't with a newborn in the house too.
Oh yeah, you got to be so careful.
Yeah. So we just got, not only the newborn, we also got the 3-year-old. So
So that's good to hear that you're, at least you've got some family that you can spend some time with. And Christmas is going to be a little tough for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think I think Zoom will probably go on overload on Christmas Day. Yeah. So anyways, was there anything that you wanted to cover in regards to your social media or your...
And on Instagram, you can contact me there if you like anything you see. And of course, you want to reach out about anything from Instagram. Instagram's more of my creator account, where I show the process and I show the finished products. And then I use my Facebook page more for there's a shop on there where I've got a few products so far. I'm trying to get more of my stuff out there, but I need to take some better pictures and some more some more staging of them. I mean, I see people stage their stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, that's beautiful. And I'm like, I ain't got time for that. I need to. And my in-laws are photographers. I need to hire them.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for sure.
My Facebook is also Bonfire Creations, and on there there's a shop and there's some testimonials, and I do get, that's where people, the general public that don't really follow me, they find me through that. And they'll see my ads and whatnot, and they'll reach out to me that way, and then touch base on what they want, if I can do it, if there's time, if it fits their time frame. That's the big thing, is people will approach me, and I'm upfront. I'll be like, okay, I got this on the go, and this kind of in my life. You're looking at 2 months before I can start it. And sometimes they're like, oh yeah, we're in no rush, perfect. Or oh, we need it yesterday. Thanks for your info.
Yeah.
You know, and thanks for your help. And that's fine too. I mean, I know no harm, no foul. I mean, I'm honest with them and they're honest with me. The thing I hate the worst is when they, what do you mean? It should take you 2 minutes. You know?
Yeah, people don't realize that, you've got other things on the go, of course. And they come and they think, oh, you're going to start building right away for them.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that, no, I can't start for 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then it's going to take 3, 4, 5 weeks to complete it, right? Properly. Right? Yeah. So that's important to know.
Yeah, but I'm trying to bring everything just to basically Facebook, and then from Facebook you can find my Instagram. You can find my somewhat of I have a small website right now. I don't even know the address off the top of my head.
Okay.
Because it's through Square, so they set up a website for me. But the obviously the goal is to have my own domain and actually have that set up. But again, there's no time right now.
Yeah.
You know, maybe by summer, you know, when baby's a little more on his own type thing, and it's not, you know, I have to be there with Kirsten and everything. But that's the goal, is to have a website too, and then really kind of launch what I'm doing. You know, for now it's a lot of word of mouth. Like, I'm not really putting myself out there. It's people that have talked to people, or the few little ads I've put out, and it's more local than anything else. So, but I mean, I'm definitely open to spreading that horizon. But that's how you find me. It's Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, right on. Okay, good. Okay, so say it again. Your Instagram is
at Bonfire Creations.
Yeah, and your Facebook?
Facebook is at Bonfire Creations with no S on it on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Confusing.
Yeah. We'll see if everybody's paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for finally we tried to get to do it before, but it was just such a busy time, and it's awesome that you took the time for this, and I'm certain that everybody's going to enjoy listening to our interview.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
Yeah, right on. Okay. So I look forward to when you are able to organize more gatherings.
Yes. Yes.
And let me know if you're doing one on Zoom anytime over the holiday or something, if you are so inclined.
Well, actually, speaking of that, since we're still on, I have been in contact with Gia from the Woodworking Show. Gia?
Yes. Gina.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. I just sold something to somebody named Gia. Gina.
Yes.
And she's like, she wanted me to get involved with this past show they had, the virtual show. And with everything going on, obviously I couldn't. I think they're planning something in late winter again, February. And she kind of hinted at doing a virtual meetup. So we might be working on something like that too.
Yeah, right on. That's good. That's
good.
Yeah, actually, I'm actually working with Gina as well.
Yeah, well, I watched part of the video. I haven't seen it all yet, but I saw the video you did. Yeah.
We're sort of joining. I think we're joining forces. So to bring the woodworking, virtual woodworking stuff.
Okay.
Up front online. If you can't go to the shows, you may as well put it online, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So there's things coming.
Very good.
We're all connected. I love it.
We are.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much.
All right.
And we'll see you on Instagram.
You bet. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed watching, be sure to click like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell to stay in the loop. If you have any questions, or if you would like to be featured on the Live Edge Lumber Girl Show, leave a comment below. Until next time.